I brought you pizza too. You can eat while I talk.
I know. I am pretty excited about that. What is on that thing?
It's butternut squash, bufala mozzarella ricotta, I think, or bufala ricotta, squash blossoms, and fresh basil.
Oh my gosh.
And pine nuts.
This is some like high-end pizza right now.
I was going to say it's kind of basic. You know,
It's a very high-end show.
You'll notice there's another voice on today's episode. Violetta from The Morning Mix is hanging out. Steve Dolinsky is here with us. And now you two know each other, right? You've known each other for a minute.
Yeah, for quite a while. I used to go, I did a story on your family's restaurant.
Yeah, he was like an icon in my like family's restaurant because it's like a small mom and pop shop, and I feel like Steve does that best, right? Like highlighting those neighborhood joints and like the family history and all of like you're like a icon in that world.
I've just been doing it a long time, I think, right? And I love little neighborhood restaurants. I featured your place on ABC7 probably because I was there a long time. And so I think we met that way. And then I came in when they were closing it and we were chatting and I was catching up and I said, I didn't realize you work at the Mix.
Yep.
And then I came on as a guest and then, here we are.
It just snowballed from there.
At first it was Mr. Dolinsky, and now I think we're like on the Steve level.
You can go first, first name basis for sure.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I am familiar with your name. I want to say it's still on the wall at Hog Wild down in Midlow, I think. Have you?
Oh my God, yeah. That's like 160th and something?
It's just south of 147th Street.
Okay, yeah, on the way to going to, we used to call the Tweeter Center.
Yeah,
Now it's some other
World.
stadium, the World, yeah.
I don't know what it's called anymore.
Yeah, I'm probably down I'm on a lot of walls, I think.
Yeah, you are.
And the cool thing about that is that it's at different stages in my life, right? So I'm, because I started at ABC7 in 2003, and so the headshots have been going out for 20 years.
Oh, nice. Well, some of them are still plastered on the south side, just so you know.
That's awesome.
They're out there. They're out there. So tell me, let's fast forward into, that was 20 years ago. Things look very different for you now. What's happening in the world now?
Well, so I went to NBC 2 years ago, so I just hit 2-year anniversary over there, and I do the Food Guy Report every Thursday night at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And it looks a lot like the Hungry Hound stuff I did at ABC7.
Oh my God, are you allowed to say that?
I can
Hungry
say it.
Hound?
Yeah. I just
I'm kidding.
I know. I was afraid to even bring it up.
I'm sure Disney will come after me with a lawsuit after this. No. We had a very good relationship. It was all good.
But a lot of people know you as the Hungry Hound.
Of course, because I was there for 17 years, right? So, but the stories that I do at NBC are just like that.
Okay.
About 2 minutes on tape, and then I set it up live, and then I'm there in the studio for a little bit. But that's only one day a week, so I have a lot of other stuff that I do. And the big side hustle that I have is, I'm having pizza all the time.
I know.
I wrote this book called Pizza City USA about 6 years ago. That led to a tour business called Pizza City Tours, which just runs in the summer every weekend.
Yeah.
That led to a podcast called Pizza City, which is every other Friday, which is 4 years old, which led to a festival business called Pizza City Fest. So we did the first one last summer here in the West Loop.
Yeah, I remember.
We did the second one in LA in the spring, and then we're doing the third one now back here in Chicago in just a couple of weeks, August 26, 27.
Okay, hold on. You took this out to LA?
We did it in LA because a lot of people just don't realize LA has an amazing pizza scene. I know people laugh at that. They put this like, really, LA,
like
are you joking?
Gluten-free pizza?
Yeah.
And squash blossoms and vegan. Yeah, and that's out there, and they have great vegan pizzas out there as well. But the problem with LA, and I think some big cities are guilty of this. You stay in your bubble.
Yeah.
And so, in Chicago, you mentioned the South Side. I mean, how often do people from Midlothian or, from the Northwest Side or from Tinley on the South Side go to Orland or go to Rolling Meadows? And I think the same thing in LA. If you're on the West Side in Santa Monica, you rarely go to the East Side. And so I felt like I can bring these places together. I'd been out there a lot for other jobs that I had, and I thought I could stitch this together and do like a weekend of pizza. And so that's what we did. We had 40 pizzerias over 2 days, just like we're doing in Chicago.
Okay. I will say that my food experience, I've been to LA a zillion times, and I always have good luck with Mexican food, but man, I have not found a good pizza joint out there. And I do kind of move around.
Nobody's really documented it. That's the problem. There isn't really like a pizza writer out there per se that covers the scene. I mean, there are taco people and they cover sandwiches, and there's like lots of influencers and bloggers, but there's not really a pizza authority.
And we
in
need
LA.
an authority.
Well, that's what happens. And then you look to that person's Instagram, you look to their TikTok, and you kind of see what they're doing, and you realize, oh my gosh, De La Nona is an amazing place downtown in the Arts District.
Okay.
Or in San Diego, there's an incredible place called Tribute. Or in Santa Monica, there's Bettina. I mean, on and on, these great pizza places, because there are great cooks, chefs, bakers out there.
Sure.
And a lot of them have pivoted to pizza.
I mean, finally. Sorry, but I've been waiting to find a good pizza place, and I've been like 20 years deep.
No, just let me know anytime. I mean, there really are a lot of, like I say, if you looked at pizzacityfest.com, you'll see Chicago and LA.
Okay.
And you'll see our lineup for LA, and you'll probably recognize some names, but others, Apollonia's in Mid-Wilshire is amazing. There's a really exciting pizza scene out there.
I'll go there just for the name of it. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the Pizza Fest coming up here in a couple of weeks. Violetta, you've been to that before?
No, I couldn't make it last year, but I'm going this year. My favorite thing about Pizza Fest, the concept of it, is that you're bringing together so many different kinds. Because you talked about this on your pizza tour, and I don't remember the exact term, so fill me in, of like prejudice of the pizza you grew up with.
Yes, the Pig syndrome, pizza I grew up eating.
Yeah.
Pigue, which is a real thing. Like, you're from the South Side, you went to Homewood or Flossmoor, you're an Aurelio's person, right? It's like this everywhere. We call it the pizza cognition theory.
Okay.
The pizza you grew up eating is the one you think is the greatest pizza. And so what we try to teach on the tours, we teach in the fest, is like, hey, there are 10 styles of pizza in Chicago, folks, not just deep and stuffed and tavern style, which is getting a lot of press nationally right now, artisan and Neapolitan and Sicilian and Roman and Detroit and on and on.
Roman pizza is like new to me over the past maybe 5 years. I do like it.
It's delicious. It's
so good.
It's crunchy, right?
It is.
It's got lots of different. Well, there's usually different flours in it.
And stuff,
a little
right?
bubbly from the fermentation, right, and the amount of hydration they have in the dough. Bonchi is a good example of it here in Chicago, but Bar Cargo in River North does a great Roman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's catching on because it's great pizza. And so, again, I want to show people these different styles. So we have 10 ovens at this event. Each oven is a different style. Like this style that I brought you today from Portofino, Pizzeria Portofino, excuse me. This is right on the river. This is a lettuce restaurant, by the way, so you get lettuce points if you have a pizza
I love
here.
the lettuce points.
So this is
And I like to rack them up. I don't like to use them.
Oh, me too. Yeah, unless you go to Joe's Stone Crab.
Yeah.
So this has got no tomato sauce on it. You don't have to have tomato sauce to make a good pizza. This is just a white base. There's ricotta on here. There's butternut squash, pine nuts, fresh basil. You can probably see a picture of this. If you're watching the podcast, you see the video of this. I mean, it's gorgeous. It looks
colorful.
it's like something you'd see at the art institute, like in a Seurat painting, right? It's like the beautiful colors, the different textures, the bubbly edge, the crisp. Look at the different colors on the crust. One thing, Lisa, when you're looking at pizza, you want to look at 3 characteristics: the crust, the crumb, and the undercarriage. So the crust is the outside.
Okay.
Right? You see that 3 different shades of brown I like to see. You want to look at the crumb. So pick up a slice of pizza, pick up this slice of pizza here, and you look at the side of it, and you see that's the crumb. When you look inside the crust, that's the crumb, and you see the open crumb structure. That tells you there's water in this dough. That tells you there's fermentation that's happened. So there's a little bit more complexity to this dough. And then look underneath the pizza. There's the undercarriage. That shows it's been sitting on a stone hearth. It's got a couple different shades of brown and black. It's not all white or blonde. That tells me that it's underdone. So this has got some nice blackening.
I want to eat it so bad.
Well, I'll leave it here for you unless you and V want to take a slice.
Oh, I think we should eat it right now, but that's just me. I don't know.
V, go ahead.
Isn't it called always eating?
Yeah, it is.
It
is.
So the crust, the crumb, the undercarriage. And so these are the kinds of things we teach. We have seminars, we have panel discussions at Pizza Fest. It's not just eating. I mean, anybody can eat pizza, but we gather the best from the region, and then we also have these classes. We're flying in this guy from Razza in Jersey City, named the best pizzeria oftentimes in New York City, got 3 stars in the New York Times.
Okay.
Dan Richards coming in. He's got a book called Joy of Pizza, which is incredible. He'll come in to be a speaker on our Dough Whisperers panel. We've got a guy from Portland, Oregon we're flying in. We've got Ann Kim from Minneapolis, who was just on the Chef's Table Netflix series about pizza. She's going to be here speaking about what she does. So it's a really like heavy hitters, but also heavy hitter speakers, but also heavy hitters in terms of pizza makers.
It's like there's this whole different world of pizza lovers and pizza I don't know, authoritarians, I guess. I'm just kind of like that. I'm blown away because again, I just like to eat pizza. So
yeah, and it's like 10 years ago,
like,
there weren't really a lot of these experts around. There were people who were sort of enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But in terms of pizzeria quality, we had kind of the same. In Chicago, at least, you have deep, tavern, stuffed.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of outliers doing a New York slice, but that was about it. And then in the last 10 years, especially since the pandemic, there's just been this turbocharge of talent that's either moved here or decided to pivot to something else and do pizza because they were bakers in another life. Maybe like Rich Labriola had Labriola Baking. He's from South Side guy from Calumet Park. He grew up in the pizza business. He had a thin crust place, a Neapolitan place out in Oak Brook.
Okay.
And then a couple years ago, he opened up Labriola restaurant downtown, and he's doing this artisan pizza pizza. He's doing a deep pan pizza in the mold of kind of a Pequod's or Bert's from Morton Grove. So there's a lot of different styles of pizza that I think that people need to know about.
I love that you know Pequod's and Morton Grove.
Of course I do. Yeah, you have to know. If you're going to talk pizza in Chicago, you got to know Bert's.
Yeah.
I mean, Bert Katz was at Pequod's.
Worst parking lot ever, but
oh, terrible.
Still a great place.
Wait, I've never been. What's bad about it?
It's just tiny and there's nowhere to go. But like you know that there's going to be great pizza by the time you find a place to put your damn car, so you deal with it.
He sold Pequod's to a suburban dentist who then opened up a second Pequod's in Lincoln Park.
Oh, okay.
On Clybourne, and then a few years later, he just decided to open up Bert's Place around the corner.
Come on.
Which I'm sure there wasn't a non-compete clause or something in that contract.
Sure.
But there's a Bert's Place, and then Bert sadly passed away, but then sold it to two guys who kept it going. Those two guys ended up splitting. They were best friends, by the way. They were commodities brokers. Okay. They split. So don't ever open a pizzeria with your best friend, I guess. They split. Huh? One guy went to open up Lefty's in Wilmette and Highland Park, also in that same style of Bert's, which is in the same style of Pequod's. Does that all make sense?
I mean, it's a lot. That was a very woven web that you took me through right there.
That's the cool thing about Chicago. There is this really cool pizza web. Like, Lou Malnati worked at Uno's and Due's and ran and managed those. And when he wasn't given an opportunity to buy it, he's like, I'm out of here. He quit. And then he opened up Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
And then one of the waitresses who worked there in the 50s at Due's opened up her own place in Crestwood called Luisa's Pizza and Pasta.
Oh,
and then Lou's
I didn't know that.
And then Lou's half brother, Rudy Malnati Jr., opened up Paisano's 20 years after Lou opened
drama.
So there's a lot of family and connected and like all this weird web, but that's what makes our pizza scene so interesting, I think.
And breakups, like I'm going to go do my own thing.
Oh, totally. The pizza wars. It's like the family business, can get stressful. Or at least I know can get stressful. Yeah. Thank God my sister and I never went into the restaurant business because who knows how that would have panned out.
Isn't that interesting how like you grew up in that bit? I grew up in the bit. My dad was in the scrap business and auto parts. I had no interest in that business at all. I wanted to talk about, I don't know, journalism and news and food and whatever. But you grow up in that business, it's so much. It's like, I don't really want to do this for the rest of my life.
Well, so talking about your beginning a little bit, like, were you always into food this much? Were you like an adventurous kid, like your family adventurous, or?
No, I wasn't. My mom, we kept kosher, and we lived in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Okay.
So we had about 10 Jewish families there, and we would wait for the Greyhound bus to come from Minneapolis once a week with all the kosher frozen chickens on it. So food was really more of a necessity. It wasn't really pleasurable as growing up. But my brother, who was 9 years older than me, his wife was from Australia. She was what we would call a foodie today. This was back in the late 70s, I guess, early 80s. And she was really into cooking and travel, and she was a backpacker and was really interested in food. And so when I graduated college, she gave me this series of Australian Women's Home Weekly cookbooks, which were really just like thick gourmet magazines, if you will, with lots of pictures and interesting recipes that I could never make because I was living in Upper Michigan doing a TV job. But I was fascinated by Thai food and Indian food and Malaysian food, and it really kind of piqued my interest. And so I realized, wow, I've been missing all this other stuff that's out in the world.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with sort of lamb chops and tuna casserole, literally.
Yeah.
And now I realize, oh my God, there's this whole other world out there that I've been missing. And I kind of feel like my career in food is a response to that childhood where I said to myself, what are you doing? You're sort of in this cloistered, you're in a shoebox. You're not really seeing the world. And so I have this wanderlust to sort of see what else is out there.
I would say, excuse me, I'm choking on how emotional that was. No, seriously. I mean, I think it's like you did the complete opposite, right? Like you had like a strict, very particular, and now you try everything under the sun and are like so involved with the whole foodie scene.
There's nothing that I won't eat. I mean, I don't love everything, obviously. Like I was in Lima on a work job, and I was World's 50 Best Restaurants.
I'm like that. First of all, that's
Lima's
just cool to go to.
It was a cool gig. I was in Lima, and they have a dish they call anticuchos, which are grilled beef hearts that they grill out on the street, like street food.
Wait,
I was going to say that's like a street vendor.
That's
thing.
their street vendor thing. Yeah, and they got like it looks like a Weber grill out on the street.
Oh my God.
And they got a propane tank, and they're grilling beef hearts, and they put them on skewers, and they put some kind of a sauce or seasoning on it, and people are just gobbling it up like we gobble up a hot dog or a beef. I tried them. I don't love that. It's a little bit like really dense and kind of minerally to me.
I can only imagine.
But I try everything. Like I'll try anything once. We were in Cambodia. We ate fried bugs. We ate frogs that were stuffed with sausage. It was kind of interesting. I mean, I wouldn't have it every day, but I feel like, when in Rome.
Yeah. Violetta, what is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Or weird to you, I should say.
Wait, what? Let me think. Let me think for a second.
The Romanians have some crazy
Yeah,
dishes,
they do.
right?
Well, borscht soup is probably it's tribe soup.
Yeah.
No, the borscht soup is beet soup. I'm sorry, tribe soup, which
The
is
blood soup?
yeah, that's the beet one. That one's not that weird because it's just beets in my opinion. But tribe soup is I think cow intestine, right?
Yeah.
And it's like very yellow. And the soup part of it is delicious. The broth, I think, smells and tastes great. But once you pull out, it looks like boogers, like beige boogers that don't ever get any color. And that's like the meat in it.
That's like chitlins from like soul food. They have like the intestine, which is kind of,
So I just tried a nibble of that, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
But they say it like makes men, the virility, and it makes you stronger, and it puts hair on chest. And
I think that's why I have so much hair everywhere. I tried a little bit of tribe, and I became like a man, strong like bull.
I think that says a lot about your personality, though, if you're willing to try stuff,
Yes.
right? Like a lot of people I meet are like, oh, I don't like that. It's weird looking, or I don't like the color of that, or I only like brown food, or I don't know. I feel like that says a lot about who you are.
I'm trying to think of even what restaurant we were at when we were eating those like cricket tacos. I forget what they're called. But
Chapulín are like grasshoppers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chapulín. There used to be a restaurant in Lincoln Park at Armitage and Halstead called Chapulín that did the fried grasshoppers.
Oh, yeah, I never had that.
Yeah.
I was like, I was afraid.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, the chef is standing at like he's table side, wanting me to try this and hoping that I will enjoy it. And I was so freaked out because I'm like, I'm about to eat all these bugs right now. And listen, I don't know that I would order it again, but it was crunchy and pretty tasty, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I just needed to separate myself that like this is what I'm eating, but like I had to try it.
And then when you think like so much of the world eats that, so there must be something to it.
Right, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Well, it might be the only thing they have. In that case, it's like a different case.
Like when people say like I only feed my kids chicken fingers and mac and cheese.
Oh.
I'm like, well, but what do kids in Bombay or Mumbai eat? I mean, they're eating curries, they're eating spicy food, like,
Can I tell you, my godson, he just turned 11 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
What he wanted to do was go on a sushi date with me. He wants to try sushi.
Oh.
And I was like, dude, we will go anywhere you want to. I was so excited that he wanted to try.
Be adventurous.
Yeah, like try something new. Especially because he grew up like very picky eater. I don't want this. He doesn't like his food to touch like me. It's weird. And he wants to go out and have sushi, and I'm like, I'm so excited to take him.
That's going to be really fun. Yeah, I definitely grew up in the idea of like you're not allowed to just eat like kids food. I mean, we grew up in a restaurant, so for us, when we went out, my dad wouldn't let us order anything my mom could make. So,
Smart.
Yeah, but then it was like a weird compilation of food because like my mom can make everything. Like she's like a chef. So I'm like, Mom can make everything. This is not fair. Like, I just want some lasagna or I just want some pot, and he's like, no, we're going to get the duck and we're going to get like, oyster. We're just getting like the weirdest, like
her
array
dad's
of food.
got a lot of rules, I can tell. He's like very particular
Oh,
about things.
he's so easygoing.
Really?
Like, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, you know him.
Yeah.
Bronco's a nut.
You know what? My only experience at your restaurant, your family's restaurant, was your dad just constantly putting booze in front of me, shots and shots of liquor, telling me that it was Romanian holy water. Yeah. It was liquid fire, man. And I kept doing shot after shot with him.
It's homemade moonshine. So if you consider that holy water, you definitely feel different after.
Yeah.
But that's, hospitality. That's his hospitality. Yeah. That's what I love about little restaurants like that. Like I went to Galit last night and he brought out some, I think it's called St. John Commandaria. That almost tastes like a tawny port for an after dinner drink. Okay. But we know the owner, and so he it's a little gift from us, a little drink. We want to have a little toast for your daughter's engagement, and all this other great stuff. So it was just really, I love that warm hospitality. You really feel like you're in someone's home.
You know what? Anytime, whether it's, even if it's the hostess coming out or the owner or the chef or whoever and drops off, and I don't care what it is. It could be warm bread. You know what I mean? If they just put a little something like, hey, this is for you. I feel so special when they do.
Totally. At certain places when you walk in now, even just getting a hello is like,
yeah.
Oh, hey, right. I'm here. Does anybody want my business or not?
Yeah, it's nice when they kind of go the extra mile.
It doesn't take much, right?
No.
Just a little extra nod, a little acknowledgement that you're there, that we appreciate you.
There is a place out in Willow Springs that I like to go to in the burbs. I know you're searching your mind for where the hell is that.
No, I know it's Southwest.
Yeah.
That's where the UPS headquarters is out there off of 294.
Yeah, over in Hodgkins. Yeah.
He's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, really, I know. You're like geography man over here, which I appreciate.
There was a well-known fancy restaurant in Willow Springs for many years, but it closed.
Not my way.
No?
What was it?
Okay. I'll think of it later.
It was over by the ballroom, by the Willowbrook Ballroom. That one. There was like a fancy place, and it did just close after the ballroom burnt down. Yeah.
Oh no.
So you were going to say, sorry.
But just the owner will, I will only go in there, a handful of times, maybe a year, and he always remembers my drink. He as soon as I sit down, and I'm like, Joey, you make me feel so special here, man.
And he's got you as a loyal customer now, right?
100%.
Yeah, and you'll tell other people about it.
Here I am.
Yeah, that's how you stay in business, I think.
Yeah. It's one of the Capris. It's another one of these where there's a bunch of different Capris, and it's all the brothers. They all own their own.
Right, but they're all a little different, so that must be a good one.
That is the good one.
Yeah.
That is the best one.
Yeah.
There's one in Lincoln Park, I think, over by Boca, right?
Yeah.
Corner
Where
of
it was. I don't know if
Willow
it's still
and Halsted.
there.
Okay, maybe not.
But it might be.
You're familiar with a lot of the spots in Lincoln Park. That's.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Lakeview, so that's probably why. But to be honest, like the amount of knowledge that Steve has, like I am not like. I like what I like. I don't necessarily know a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like
Same.
I love experiencing food and the going out, but I don't know.
You're not alone. Most people stick to their things that they know.
Right.
And then maybe they'll look at Chicago Magazine, I'll try a new place in Logan Square, but they don't want to go to the end of Humboldt Park or Avondale, or like I'm driving around, I'm just looking at awnings. Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, they're doing Puerto Rican food. Let's try that. Maybe, that's how I roll. I mean, that's my job.
Right.
So I think you're not alone. What you say, like you have a couple places you go to, you know them well, you can rely on them,
Right.
and maybe once in a while you try a new place.
For sure. But I mean, it's more than just what you do. You clearly have a passion for it. And if you're going to look at Chicago Magazine, might as well look at your Instagram and see what you're up to.
I couldn't agree with you more. Look at it's Steve Dolinsky, for folks, in case you're wondering.
You know what? First of all, I don't even think I follow you yet.
Oh my! You'll get
come
hungry.
on.
No.
Oh my God.
Every day at lunch, there's like a new birra taco or whatever somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, I want that.
Can we talk about tacos just for 1 minute? I don't know how much time we have. But like,
Yeah,
what
we
is the
can.
deal in Chicago? First, I was going to say a few months ago, we have this Italian problem because every new restaurant's Italian. Now it's tacos, tacos, tacos.
Yeah, it is.
And you look at Randolph, West Randolph in the West Loop, there's Velvet Taco next door to another taco place a block away from the new Tacombe Taco that opened up behind G.B. Graziano's. I mean, there's so many taco places now. I get it that they're inexpensive for the customer. It's a couple buck commitment, but like so many taco places.
I don't even think it's that they're inexpensive, because if you roll through, you're still dropping some money. You know what I mean? Like you could get pretty much anything.
I think it's literally like the idea of a margarita and a taco makes so many people happy. And so it's like hitting that nostalgia. Like I'm gonna be. It's Taco Tuesday every day, something like that.
Yeah,
And it's also that. It's also that as soon as it became like a punchline, like tacos are my boyfriend or that kind of thing.
Wait, I'm sorry.
seriously,
What is that a punchline?
It's like a whole thing.
I've never heard that until
Oh,
today.
meaning like you love tacos so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Sorry.
just like how do you not know?
Me
that?
and Steve slow on the meme life.
Yeah, sorry.
You all were the ones talking about. Even has heard that before, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't spend that much time looking at TikTok. I'm so sorry, Eva. I'm just really out of the loop. I still get the newspaper delivered to my house. I read a whole newspaper.
All right.
So
well,
I'm
whatever.
a dinosaur.
Tacos are sometimes
it's a
my boyfriend. It happens.
But it is a thing in Chicago. It's definitely, we're having a moment with tacos, as we are with pizza.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought that a lot of with like the Korean corn dogs popping up, that we were getting, and then now everybody is serving something with ube, that was having its moment. Seriously.
Yeah. Ube's, Kasama helps that, because Kasama was in the Bear, and people are fascinated with, all things new and interesting, and Ube's been around a while. And I drove one morning, like almost an hour, to go to Gurney Donuts behind Six Flags, because they only do the ube donuts on Saturdays. I went up there in the dark in the winter one time. I remember I posted about this. They were great, but ube is definitely like the cool kid right now.
Yeah, it's having its moment. It's same with like all things mochi is, people are starting to become familiar with this stuff, to where, to me, I'm seeing more of that, I guess, than I'm noticing the tacos. But
well, I do love when we can expand our horizons. Like you were saying at the top of this interview, like, you're not really a food expert. You love to eat.
Yeah.
You're the perfect person for all this stuff. Like you're interested in trying stuff.
That's what I do.
If someone like me says, hey, I'll take you by the sort of the collar. Hey, if you're ever up north, go to Gurney Donuts on Saturdays. Like these donuts are really special, and try the ube. It's this purple yam that it's big in the Filipino population, but I think the owner's Cambodian, but his friend's Filipino, but there's this interesting backstory to it. I think people like you're interested in that. It's like you don't have to be an expert to try it, right?
I don't even try to be. I just want to try the Saturday donuts.
I can't screenshot enough stuff though, like to get to it. You know what I mean? Because everything's on social now, and you're scrolling, you see something. I mean, even on your page, I'll see something, and I just have like a folder of all the screenshots, things I want to try.
Oh yeah.
But I need help sometimes organizing them. Like I can't figure out when to go to like the random spots that aren't like in my wheelhouse.
Right. It's overwhelming. I agree. Like Warlord is a good example. Warlord is a new restaurant that has very little official press.
Where's that?
Although people have been talking about it. Infatuation's talked about it. It's corner of Milwaukee and Belmont. There's no sign. Their website is not very descriptive. There's no menu on it. But a lot of industry people go because they're open on Mondays.
Okay.
I think they're closed Tuesday, Wednesday. I went on a Monday. It was fantastic. It's just like hearth cooking over a live fire. They're aging beef. They're aging fish. Really simple menu, maybe 8 items on the menu.
Okay.
Great price, like really reasonable prices.
And it's called Warlord?
Warlord.
That sounds, I just want to go because I want to tag myself at a place called Warlord.
Like Metal Death, like you're going to have like heavy music. No,
it's totally your scene.
Yeah, it's totally my scene. Yeah, Warlord. But check it out. It's a great restaurant. But that's the kind of place where you're like, should I go to this place? I'm not really sure about it. Like the nice pictures I've seen online. That's a place you want to go try.
For sure. There's the Barbie thing going on, obviously, in the world. Everything's pink and everything's Barbie. Yeah. Have you run into a Barbie pink pizza yet?
No, and I'll be honest with you. I stay away from what I call critic bait. So when you see something on a menu that has like foie or it's pink colored or I don't know, it's like an ube rainbow, that we typically call that critic bait because they want us to order it just sort of as a dare. And just because it's got pink on a pizza doesn't mean I'm going to order it. I mean, I really want to get something in your wheelhouse.
Right.
I don't want the gimmicky thing, but I get it that a lot of restaurants now will just put something on their menu for the gram.
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh, that's half of it, really, with as far as the influencers go.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what to say about that.
I think we do.
I'm old school, but
well, you're OG, yeah, totally. But obviously, Instagram is helpful in all of that and getting the message out.
Yeah, it's because again, restaurants cannot afford a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month retainer for a PR firm,
right?
And then to give away all the free meals for all the influencers or media.
Yeah.
They have press dinners. I mean, it's very expensive, and so they rely on the goodwill of customers and they rely on their own in-house social media.
It's kind of a grassroots campaign, show people what we got, see if they want to come in.
Yep.
Yeah, and hopefully it spreads. Right. I mean, you never know what's going to spread. There was a story about a restaurant on the southwest side at Taqueria, and some woman who's an influencer had posted about it, and it just blew up like that next week. And they had no idea where all the business was coming from, and they traced it back to this young woman who posted some pictures and said some great things, and then people all went.
Man,
so that's
great.
cool.
That's influence.
Yeah.
Can that happen for me?
Sure. I know, right? So, okay, I do have a pizza question as far as like the 10 categories.
Yeah.
Let's start with Chicago pizza and oven grinder. What?
Why does that always come up in discussions?
Because I
don't even know what that is.
It's in a legendary building across the street from where the St. Valentine's Day Massacre happened in Lincoln Park. It's about 2100-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, North Clark. It's been there since the 70s or 80s. I think there might have been like ferns and lava lamps involved when they opened, something like that, right?
Maybe. I mean,
it's
I know
old school.
that, right, they don't take reservations. They're cash only. They literally had to build onto because the bar is like this big, so.
But to sort of fill you in, V, it's basically, I'm going to say this as nice as I can, it is melted cheese in a bread bowl that is turned upside down. That's the quote-unquote pizza.
He's chewing her pizza and
so
nodding.
I'm not sure it's technically a pizza. It's really soft. It's not
It's
pizza
like
as
a
you think
bowl of goo.
Yeah, I saw it on Barstool Sports. He went there for one bite. Everybody knows the rules guy.
God,
yeah.
Oh, probably your favorite guy, right?
I'm actually going to his pizza festival in September in New York just because I want to see it. But yes, I don't know why. It's
Dave Portnoy, right?
Dave Portnoy, yes.
Yeah.
They get a lot of... people obviously have memories of Pizza and Oven Grinder. God bless them. Like, I wish them nothing but success. Personally, I don't care to eat that anymore. I did it once for the book to try it, but I'm not a fan.
I've never had it.
I used to go there all the time when I was like
hungover.
No, that's probably more like a munchies type thing. You know what I mean? Like when you're a teenager, you're like, we're gonna drive up north. We're going to smoke a little weed, and then we're going to go eat this giant bowl of pizza goo. And you know what? It was amazing. And the Mediterranean bread was really good, too.
Oh, my God.
Like, tear it and eat it, and it was so good. I haven't been there in a million years, but...
maybe there's a reason for that. I mean, if it was that great, you'd be going back like your guy in Willow Springs, who's so great, right?
I mean, that's true.
But there's a time and place for everything. And that's kind of the cool thing about pizza. Like, you can dress it up 1,000 million, like, so many different ways. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And with the different types, but then what you're putting on it, like... I don't know if I would normally order this, but it's delicious. It's fresh. It's summery.
And I would call this an artisan style.
Yeah.
Right. So artisan means there's a baker involved, right? There's the crust and crumb is an issue. The toppings are obviously well thought out or from a farmer's market, not like out the back of a Cisco truck.
Right.
So that's more artisan style, like a chefy pizza. Then there's deep dish, right? There's also deep pan, slightly different. One has kind of a more biscuitly, like tender crust. That like deep dish, like so my pie, Lou Malnati's is deep dish.
Okay.
And the edge sits a little bit higher in the pan than the middle, so they press the edge up along the inner wall. Deep pan is more like Bert's and Pequod's and La Briola, thicker, a little breadier. The dough sits evenly across the top.
Okay.
Then there's stuffed, which has a second layer of dough across the top of the pizza, and then the sauce goes on top of that.
Keep talking,
That's
Steve.
Nancy's or Giordano's. There's tavern style, which is the pizza we all grew up with in Chicago.
Sure.
Aurelio's, Vito and Nick's, Home Run Inn, etc.
Russo's.
Right.
What?
So many
good.
tavern style pizzas. There's Sicilian, which is done in a rectangular pan, left to proof overnight to rise a little bit, and then topped the next day and baked like a D'Amato's maybe, or like a
Yeah. Have you been to Sfera Sicilian?
Yeah, they do arancini though, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But they do.
They do slices.
They do pizza too. Yeah.
Up in
It
Edgewater?
kind of depends. It's like a changing thing, but they do all kinds of different stuff.
Have you ever been to Chuck E.
Arancini.
Cheese?
Yes, I used to take the kids there.
Yeah?
For the games, of course.
No, but seriously, I like that pizza with the little bubbly underneath, and I love the salad bar. But
Okay. That would be that's a thin pizza, right? That's a thin crust.
Yeah.
Okay, just a standard thin, not a Chicago thin,
Nope.
not a tavern, but it's a thin crust.
Nope.
So there's a place like up on Montrose and Ashland called Crushed, which is a really good thin crust pizza.
Okay.
There's Detroit style, right, which is a little like a Sicilian.
I always think
but
like
it-
Jets Pizza.
Jets is Detroit, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
It started in Sterling Heights, 1978. In case
Okay.
you're wondering,
mean,
crispy,
damn.
crispy, cheesy edge around the perimeter, more focaccia like in the middle.
Yeah.
Sauce at the end across the top. There's Neapolitan, which is the original sort of wood-fired pizza, very high heat, 90-second bake.
like a coal fire?
Coal fire is very close to that, actually. Yeah, but they wouldn't say it's Neapolitan necessarily because of the coal, but that is an old school. I guess you'd call it a thin. Coal fire is almost its own category.
You got to eat that right then and there.
Yeah,
People
you
that
do.
take it to go,
Yep,
I'm like, are
no.
you like wild? Why would you do that?
That's New Haven, like New Haven, Connecticut is a popular style. They do all coal fire pizza there.
Oh, really?
So coal fire would fall under that. But like Neapolitan is like Spaccanapoli, Forno Rosso, Sapori Napolitana. There's a lot of Neapolitans here.
Okay.
But you can't really pick it up with your hands. You got to fold it a couple times or do knife and fork.
Yeah.
And then there's that's about it, right? Sicilian, artisan, Roman, Neapolitan, Detroit.
I don't
Yeah,
even
that's
know where
about
I'm
10
at
slices.
right now.
Yeah, but that's a lot of different styles though.
So we can expect to see all of them
Yeah.
at the festival that's coming up.
Yep, they'll all be at Pizza City Fest. We got the whole lineup at pizzacityfest.com. We've got live music this year because it's Salt Shed. So
Cool location.
ESG is from the Bronx. They're kind of a hip hop funk, and then Windy City Ramblers is like a second line from New Orleans, kind of like
Nice.
upbeat live band. And all the speakers, everything's included.
Is it 1 day, 2 day?
Both days, Saturday and Sunday, noon to 5.
Okay.
VIP gets in an hour early at noon, so general
Yeah.
admission comes in at 1. So V obviously will not be the VIP, but she'll be. Well, maybe we'll work on something. For you.
Hold on.
You might know a guy who
Wait
can
a
help you in
second.
early.
Wait
yeah.
a second.
But yeah, noon. So noon is VIP and 1 is general admission. And you're done by 5, so you can still go out and go to Pizza and Oven Grinder at 8 o'clock for your second dinner if you wanted to.
Oven
Go
grinder
home and
just
take a nap.
sounds wrong.
Yeah, right.
It's aren't grinders sandwiches?
Yeah,
I think on the East Coast a grinder is a
it's a
sandwich.
sandwich,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking of the app.
Of course
So
you
I
were.
was like-
Of course you were.
Okay, where can we send people to get tickets if they want to go?
Easiest thing is just pizzacityfest.com, and you can see what is included with the tickets, and just click a button there to buy the tickets. It's really easy.
And we find you on Instagram where again?
At Steve Dolinsky with a Y.
All right.
Steve Dolinsky
With a Y.
and pizzas, because there are a lot of SKIs in Chicago.
Yeah, there are.
Right?
There are.
But yeah, Steve Dolinsky is Instagram and pizzacityfest.com.
Dude, thank you so much for coming here and blowing up my brain with all of this pizza knowledge.
My pleasure.
And
Hope you'll have a slice.
Oh, it's going to happen.
All right.
Everything's going down.
It's really good, I'll tell you that.
This was great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Steve.
All right,
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.